Look, I'm going to come out and say it right at the beginning of the video. I'm on team yes. Sign PK Montreal Canadiens, the return. I want to see it. And I know a ton of fans. I've been reading the comments, and a lot of people, you know what? I'm going to go there. The majority of the people who've commented on the previous videos have said they don't want PK. It's close. I would say it's maybe 55-45, but still the majority, from what I've seen, doesn't want PK to come back with the Montreal Canadiens. But today I just wanted to ponder if it's a good idea, because I want to see it. Number one, for entertainment value, I think a PK return would make the Habs just even more tantalizing, even more entertaining, even juicier to watch. With PK Subban, the return, he'd probably be on the second or third pairing, okay? And I mean, it'll be interesting. What can he do on the power play? What can he do when he's getting second or third pairing minutes? I mean, even second pairing is a bit of a stretch for where PK is in his career now, but third pairing, what can he do? And remember, I've said this in previous videos, people look at PK and they say, oh, he's terrible, he's not what he's used to be, he's washed up. Yes, he's washed because he's being paid $9 million. Guess what? That contract is off the books starting this offseason. You can sign PK for 1.5, for 2. And a lot of people are saying, oh, he won't take that. I don't see teams lining up to pay PK $3-4 million. I do not see it. For the production he gave and the type of play he gave and the media circus that follows PK Subban around with his big brand and everything, I don't see it. I think he's going to get $2 million. And I really think if the Habs want him, they could get him. And I've said this from the beginning, I think it's a two-horse race, either the Leafs or the Habs. Because I do think both those teams, they're not afraid of the circus that is PK Subban. And on the topic of him being a locker room cancer, I hate when people say that. You don't know that. You don't know that PK Subban is a locker room cancer. And people say that so definitively, like they're sure of it. Yes, he's had a couple of fights in practice. Yes, he's rubbed some teammates the wrong way. But he's not like just the worst thing to happen to an NHL locker room. There's plenty of guys who've spoken up, who've had him as a teammate. They've said, I loved being teammates with PK Subban. And I know there's some beef between him and Gallagher. Okay, and of course that would need to be squashed because if you heard the stuff Gallagher was saying, he seems pretty sour at PK Subban. But overall, like, you don't necessarily know. Maybe he is, though, because I don't know definitively either. I can't come out here and say, no, he's not a locker room cancer. I'm just saying that we can't say definitively one way or another. He's worn a letter on all the teams he's played with in the NHL. So clearly he was part of the leadership group. So this locker room cancer talk, I'm not so sure about it, truly. And I mean, as far as the narrative of coming back to Montreal, where there's so many fans who still love this guy, who still want... I went to a couple of Habs games last year, and literally I saw his jersey so often. People still love PK Subban. I went to a game, Calgary Flames against Montreal Canadiens, and I saw 3 different people wearing PK Subban New Jersey Devils jerseys. He's still beloved. I think for the marketing and everything, it would just be awesome because tons more people would buy PK Subban jerseys. And look, he may not be the $9 million defenseman, Norris Trophy winner, getting 55, 60 points a year, but he can still be Showtime. He's still got that big clapper. Put him on Power Play 2 or maybe even Power Play 1 if he's feeling it for a little bit, and watch him unleash that big slap shot. Don't give him the huge defensive responsibilities that he had when he was the number 1 defenseman and he was playing with Markov before. Put him on the second or the third pair where he's free to roam a bit offensively and do what he wants to do in terms of offense. Now, the counter argument, I know that because the Habs re-signed Chris Weidman, who's a right-handed defenseman, and they have David Savard, I'm just assuming that Jeff Petry will not be a Montreal Canadien at the start of next season. I think Ken Hughes is going to do everything in his power to trade this guy. So that's where I see the opening. I know that Justin Barron is coming down the pipeline, okay, and that's somebody that he played a little bit with the Habs last season, and Marty St. Louis and Ken Hughes, they want to try and get this guy developed in the lineup, but I'll admit, that is a little hole in the bring back PK train, I'll say. But to me, if you give Barron a whole nother year, he's only 20 years old. Give him a whole other year of development, because as a defenseman, it takes longer. I know people look at guys like Cale Makar, who came in when he was 13 years old in the NHL and hasn't looked back since, and now he's going to win the Stanley Cup at 17 years old. But it doesn't work like that for defensemen historically. For forwards, you can be a star right away 19, 20 years old. For defensemen, yes, it can happen, but it's even more rare than for forwards, and it's pretty rare for forwards. So, I don't know, dude. I really, really think that Justin Barron would benefit greatly from some more development time in the AHL with a good Laval Rocket team, seriously. Or I think that that's the best spot for him, and there's no doubt in my mind. So to me, especially as a defenseman in Montreal, where if he makes mistakes, he's going to get flamed by the fan base. But I think that it's so smart to let this guy mature. You can bring him up for a cup of coffee in the NHL once in a while, let him play a few games, get some confidence under his belt, but put him in the minors where he's going to get 25 minutes of ice time a night. He's going to get power play time, penalty kill time, tons of time to practice making good first passes, good plays, offensively and defensively, and I think you're going to get a much better player for it. So again, that's Team PK. You bring him in here, and he could be a stopgap while you wait for guys like Justin Barron to develop. And I know people are talking about Chris Letang to Montreal. The more I look at that, the more I think it's not going to happen, because Chris Letang is going to be looking for a lot of money, which the Habs are not really going to have. I know they just got rid of Shea Weber's contract, but you still got $10.5 million Carey Price. You've got Gallagher at a big cap hit, Suzuki a new big contract. You're going to have to pay Caulfield here soon, so I don't know about that. But I do think that PK Subban, if you can get him on a smaller number, and I think he would take it to come back to Montreal. He comes back to Montreal so often. He was here last weekend for the Grand Prix, the Canadian Grand Prix F1 racing. So to me, I would say that if you go to PK and you say, hey, PK, $2 million, you can add to your legacy, finish your career with a storybook ending. You know that PK Subban would want a storybook ending to his career. He's just that type of guy. He's Showtime. And you can finish with this fairy tale ending with the Montreal Canadiens. And you can help mentor these younger players like Caulfield, Suzuki, and probably Shane Wright. And honestly, we know that PK loves the spotlight. There's no bigger spotlight in hockey other than Toronto than in Montreal. I think it's a match made in heaven. And especially with Shea Weber's contract being off the books for the Habs now, it would be such a full circle thing that would make me, and I know a ton of other Habs fans, so happy. I think it's a good idea. And I'm looking at guys like Justin Barron, and I really do think that extra development time would help these guys greatly. I truly do. I don't know, and you're getting more, not that you need more butts in the seats in Montreal. It's going to be a sellout anyways, but the fans would love it. I really, really do think they do. And I know what I said about the majority thinking that they don't want PK back, but I think once he actually comes back, when you see him in that sweater again, and the narratives that he would create, and the juicy television it'd create for the Montreal Canadiens, I think that Habs fans will not be able to resist. I truly do. I think it's a good idea. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. As usual, like, subscribe, comment. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.